What is going on, everybody? It's New York Sports Up here, back at it with another New York Yankees video. And I'm going to be making a video today about the schedule that was released yesterday. I'm going to be breaking down the schedule, talking about the teams we're going to be facing in the 2020 season. Now, we're only playing 60 games, so we will be playing the American League East and the National League East. So, they can keep it close so they don't, have to go all the way across the country and, catch Corona there. So they want to keep it, close. So they're only playing the American League East this year, which is our division, and the National League East. And now, the National League East is one of the toughest divisions in baseball, if not the best division in baseball. You got four teams who are pretty solid. You got the Phillies, you got the Nationals, you got the Mets, you got the Braves, you got the Nationals who won the World Series last year. You got the Mets who, struggled in the first half of the year, but got red hot at the second half. You got the Phillies who kind of had a disappointing year, but they got a lot of talent on that team. And you also have the Atlanta Braves, who are one of the best teams in the National League. So the National League East is a very, very tough division, and we also have our division, which is once again not the easiest division in the world, but once again it's not a very tough division. You got the Orioles, who are one of the worst teams in baseball. You got the Blue Jays, who aren't very good still, because they're very young, but the Blue Jays still aren't very good. You also got the Red Sox, who had a disappointing year last year. I don't think they'll get any better this year, so I think we should be able to beat them. And we also got the Rays, who kind of be annoying sometimes, but the Rays are a really, really good team. They got really good pitching. And I'm kind of going to go over the games I think we'll win, the games I think we'll lose the series, and all that stuff. So we open up our season against the Nationals. Obviously, we already knew that. We knew who our opening day opponent was going to be. And the Nationals are a team that I think we could definitely beat, but they have three really good pitchers in the top of that rotation with, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Patrick Corbin. And the Nationals also have a pretty solid offense, even though they did lose Anthony Rendon. They still have Trey Turner, they still have Juan Soto, they signed Eric Thames, and the Nationals are still a very, very good team. Although I don't think they'll be, a World Series contender this year. I still think the Nationals are pretty solid, but I do think that's a team we can beat. But I just think we need to score a decent amount of runs in that series, and I think we can win. But I'm not gonna go series by series. I'm just kind of going to be talking about the opponents we're going to play. And the other National League East team we're going to play is the Phillies. We actually play, I think, the second and third series of the season, we play the Phillies. We play the Phillies on the road, then we play our home opener against the Phillies. And the Phillies are a team that doesn't really have great pitching. They have really weak pitching. They have, Jake Arrieta, who didn't really have a good season last year. They have Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola had a great year in 2018, but he came back, and next year last year he was decent, but he wasn't great. And they also signed Zach Wheeler. But they have a lot of talent on offense. That team can score a lot of runs. They have Bryce Harper. They have JT Realmuto. They have, Rhys Hoskins. They have, Didi. They have Andrew McCutchen, who's coming off a big injury as well. But the Phillies have a lot of talent on offense. I think that series will be very high scoring. But I do think the Yankees can, beat the Phillies in that series, mainly because the Yankees have better pitching than the Phillies do. So I think the Yankees can definitely win a couple series against the Phillies. And that's a team I definitely think we can beat. They only went 500 last year. I think the Phillies are definitely a team we can beat. And the Mets. And I know we played two series against the Mets. I think we split both series. I know we played one series in Citi Field. We played one series in Yankee Stadium. I know we played like a doubleheader. I think we played a doubleheader in Yankee Stadium. I think the first game we crushed them, and the second game they crushed us. So I think we split with the Mets at Yankee Stadium. And I know that's where James Paxton, I think he gave up like 6 runs or something like that. And he gave up a 3-run home run to Pete Alonso in the first inning. I remember that game. And then we also went to Citi Field. I think we might have split there too. We might have swept. I don't really remember. But I think we split with the Mets last year. And the Mets are a team I did think got better in the offseason. They signed Dylan Betances, obviously the former Yankee. They signed him to beef up the bullpen. They have Seth Lugo down there in the bullpen. They have Edwin Diaz, who might have a bounce back season. They have they got Robert Gesellman, they have Justin Wilson. They have some decent guys in that bullpen. But the bullpen was one of the main issues why they didn't make the playoffs last year. And I think if the bullpen can improve a little bit, I think the Mets are definitely a playoff team in 2020 because they have so much talent on that team. They have Yoenis Cespedes coming back. They have Conforto. They have McNeil. They have Alonso, who had an amazing year last year. They have Robinson Cano, who's a nice veteran. They have Wilson Ramos. They have a lot of good hitters in that lineup, and I do think the Mets are a playoff team this year. And also, they have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. I know, obviously, they did lose Syndergaard for the year, but they still have, Stroman. They still have DeGrom, who is the best pitcher. DeGrom is arguably the best pitcher in baseball. So, the Mets have a lot of talent on that team, and I do think the Mets are a team that I definitely think we can beat, but those series I think will be very close because the Mets are still a very, very good team. So I think that's going to be a pretty exciting series. And I don't know how many times we play them. I think we play them maybe 5 or 6 times, so it's going to be weird playing the Mets that much, but that's how many times we play them. And then the final National League East opponent, the second to last, is the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves are a really, really good team. And the Braves are probably the toughest opponent on our schedule. And but I definitely think I think all of these games will be very, very close. The Braves are a very, very good team. They have a great offense. They have Acuna. They have Freeman. They signed Marcell Ozuna to replace Josh Donaldson. They have Austin Riley. They have, Johan Camargo. They have a lot of good hitters on that lineup. And the Braves are going to be a very, very tough team to beat. But their pitching, they kind of lack on pitching a little bit. They have Fultonavich, they have Soroka, they have Max Fried. But their pitching isn't necessarily great. They lost Julio Teheran in the offseason. So I think the pitching has kind of gotten a little worse, but I still think their pitching is pretty solid. Although I do think the Braves are going to be, I do think we can beat the Braves. The Braves are probably the toughest team on our schedule to beat. So those are going to be very good series to watch. And, those are going to be good games. So the Braves are probably the toughest team to beat on our schedule, but I definitely think we could pull off some wins against them. Now we move on, and I'll talk about our own opponents, our divisional opponents. And I'm kind of going to talk about them. So we have the Tampa Bay Rays, and I think we went 11-7 against the Rays last year. We started off killing the Rays. We always seemed to beat them every single time we played the Rays, but then they started to beat us a little bit at the end. But I still think we are the better team than the Rays. I mean, we blew them out of the division last year. The Rays had the division lead for like a first month of the year, and then the Yankees started to run away with the division at the end. But I do think the Yankees are the better team than the Rays. The Yankees have a better bullpen. Their offense is better. I mean, the Rays lost their best hitter in Tommy Pham in the offseason. They did bring in Renfroe, but I still think they lost their best hitter in Tommy Pham. They still have Austin Meadows. They still have Brandon Lau, who I like. They have Kevin Kiermaier. They have a lot of, decent hitters in that lineup, but their lineup isn't necessarily great. They have a lot of holes. They don't really have like a great bottom of the lineup. So personally, I do think the Rays' offense is a little bit weak, and their pitching is amazing. They have probably the best pitching in baseball. With Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, who kind of had a down year last year, but I do think Blake Snell can bounce back. They have Charlie Morton, who I think he might have finished like third in the Cy Young voting or something like that. But Charlie Morton had a really good year for the Rays last year. And the Rays play in one of the worst stadiums in baseball, and I hate playing there. But we will have to play, we will have to play the Rays in the Trop this year. And the Rays are going to be a tough team to beat, but I do think we can beat this team. We beat them 11 times last year. I think we can beat the Rays again. I think we can definitely win that season series. But the Rays are going to be very tough, as they usually are. The Rays are always pretty good, so I think the Rays will be a tough team to beat because they have such good pitching. But I do think we can beat the Rays again because we've beaten them so much in the past couple years. So I do think we can beat the Rays. And then for the Red Sox, and the Red Sox are a team who has gotten a lot worse. They lost Chris Sale in the offseason, who is their best pitcher by far, and they lost Chris Sale for the entire year. I think Eduardo Rodriguez got tested positive for COVID-19, so you never know what could happen there. But the Red Sox are a team that I don't think is as good as they were last year. I mean, they had a disappointing year last year, and they got even worse. The Red Sox pitching is so bad. I mean, they have no pitching at all, and I don't really know how the Red Sox can win without pitching. So I don't see the Red Sox as a good team this year. I do think we could beat them. We went 14-5 against them last year. We absolutely killed the Red Sox, and I think we could beat them up again. I just think the Yankees are a much better team than the Red Sox right now. And, Red Sox fans could say, oh, we have 4 championships, so you guys only have 1. But the Yankees are a much better team than the Red Sox right now. And I know Red Sox fans are going to disagree, but I just don't think the Red Sox are going to be a good team this year. I don't like their pitching at all. And they had a disappointing season last year, and they lost Chris Sale, so that only means they're going to get worse. So I think and they also lost Mookie Betts, obviously. So I think the Red Sox will get a lot worse, and I definitely think we can beat the Red Sox this year. For the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays are kind of always a thorn on the Yankees side. They always seem to kind of be that that upset team that always upsets us. And the Blue Jays have a pretty solid young roster. They have Bo Bichette, they have Vlad Guerrero, they have Kevin Biggio, they have Lourdes Gurriel Jr., they have Randall Grichuk, who killed the Yankees last year. The Blue Jays have a lot of decent hitters on that lineup, but they still lack on the pitching side of the ball. They don't really have great pitching. They did sign Hyun-Jin Ryu, which was a nice signing, but their pitching still isn't very good. They have Matt Shoemaker coming off a big injury, and they signed Yamaguchi, or Shun Yamaguchi, whatever his name is. They signed Tanner Roark, who's kind of a mediocre pitcher. So the Blue Jays, in my opinion, kind of lack on the pitching side of the baseball. So that's the reason why I do think we can beat the Blue Jays this year, but the Blue Jays always kind of seem to be the thorn on the Yankees side. So maybe the Blue Jays will beat us a couple times, but I do think we can beat Toronto and Baltimore, and we played them 10 times this year. I think we win every single game. I mean, we played, 19 games against them last year, and was only playing, and we only lost, what, 2 times to the Orioles last year. I don't see us losing to the Orioles at all. We're just that much better of a team than we are. The Orioles, in my opinion, are the worst team in Major League Baseball. They lost their best hitter in Trey Mancini. The Orioles are absolutely atrocious. We should be able to beat them 10 times. I mean, I'm pretty sure almost every team should always beat them. The Orioles are absolutely garbage. We should be able to beat them 10 times. So overall, out of the opponents we play, also I forgot the Marlins, who are not a very good team either, and the Marlins are definitely a team we can beat. They're they're still in the rebuilding phase, but I definitely think we can beat the Marlins. But looking at our opponents and the teams we play, and also the final 23 games of our schedule, like the final part of our schedule, is very, very easy. And if maybe we're struggling in that point, we can make a run because we're playing some bad teams at the end of our schedule. So maybe if we're ever at down point and we're heading towards the middle of August, that final 20 games that final 20 game stretch is very, very easy. We don't have any good teams in that 20 game stretch. And once again, looking at the schedule, from a whole, I think we can win 35 to 40 games. I think we can even win more than that because our schedule is not very tough. We don't really have a team that we play that is better than us right now. I think there's only a couple teams you could say that are better than us right now, and that's the Dodgers and the Astros. I still think we're a better team than them, but those are 2 teams you could argue that are better than us right now. But every team that we play, I don't think is better than us. I think we're better than every single team we play. So I don't really see us losing less than 35 games. I definitely see us as the best team in the American League this year. I think our schedule is a pretty easy schedule. I was not disappointed in our schedule. I think we have a pretty easy schedule, and I think with this schedule release, I think we can win 35 to 40 games. So what were your thoughts on the schedule? Put down in the comments below. That 20 game stretch at the end of the year is so easy. We could definitely win, maybe 15 out of the 20 games. I think we could definitely beat up all those teams. I mean, the Yankees do not have don't really have a tough schedule. This is a schedule that we can definitely win at least 35 to 40 games on. And yeah, I like the schedule a lot. So put your thoughts down in the schedule. Put your thoughts on it and down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. So that's going to do it for this video. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.